Hello and welcome to my understanding the meaning of forgiveness within the philosophy of mindfulness by myself, Derek McGilvray. Understanding of the problems occurring with a lack of forgiveness and the core methods of attaining a state of forgiveness for others and yourself. This lesson has a high level of self-reflection. Some of the issues in this lesson are very challenging. What is forgiveness? What I want you to do just now is take a moment to write down what you think forgiveness is and who benefits before reading any further. Now press pause and just write down your thoughts. Now one of the reasons for doing this above little exercise is that people have a very set idea in the West about what forgiveness is. And it's partly because of the preconceptions that surround the term that provide an instinctive reluctance to show forgiveness in many ways. Look at who you thought your belief benefits from forgiveness. Was it the perpetrator or whatever needs forgiven? It doesn't have to be a person, it has to be an action maybe. Did your description generally describe a victim forgiving a predator so that the predator could find peace? If so, then this is the general understanding that is common in the West. It's based largely on Christian idea of being saintly and forgiving a person so they can find peace, of course, of God forgiving someone so they can find salvation. It relies on the justice model of the court, society, and the general thinking that there is a price to pay for justice, and that forgiveness is earned. Forgiveness in mindfulness is completely different. It is recognising that forgiveness is within the mind and the soul of the victim. It also recognises hate, desire for revenge, and maintained anger as a terrible destructive forces. In the quote there, no matter how hard we try to shut out the light, it always returns the next day. So don't hide from it. Just embrace it with love that shines down on you. And in mindfulness, that is what we do. We embrace the love and we be in the moment of how we're feeling. The key point here is if you continue to hold on to the traditional Western meanings for forgiveness, as you read through this lesson, you'll probably find some of the ideas hard to accept. Keep reminding yourself that this is a different meaning for forgiveness. Treat it as a different word. And question if you feel vengeful anger towards someone without expressing it through word or a deed to their face, who suffers? And the real answer is, you're the one that's suffering. Now, the quote there is, release the emotional pain today by clearing up your friends list and surround yourself with love. Forgiving and learning is a very key part of our present feelings and emotions. We should take this seriously. If you hold on to anger and resentment, it only hurts you, the person, hold on to a set of emotions. It does not affect the person that caused it. It is a sad fact that many people who have been genuinely wronged are often hurt twice, once by the deed itself, and then again by living in a vengeful anger for the prolonged period. Hold on to anger and resentment. It increases our stress levels, increases the likelihood of a stress-related illness. Very often people suffer ailments when they've been wronged, for example. It increases the tension and anxiety levels, increases the likelihood of mental health related issues, and it wastes energy. Waste time that could be spent on constructive thinking, doing something positive. Takes away from the calm and positive and the mindfulness. Makes the thinker used to being angry and tense, creating an angry person. In the final analysis, keeps the victim feeling like a victim. I always say, be smart, wait for the right wind to come. Overreacting is a waste of energy. So conserve, rest, and then you'll have the strength to overcome the hurdles in front of you. Take your time with this. William Shakespeare said, love all, trust few, do wrong to none. Trust is very important in life, as Lady Gaga said in that quote. Trust is like a mirror. You can fix it, if it's broken, but you could still see the crack that motherfucker's reflection, you know? It's like forgiveness. I forgive, but I don't forgive their actions, as the only person can do that is themselves. So clear your life of those you don't trust and fill it with people you love today. And keep calm. Start doing stuff. Exercise 2. Think about a victim being angry with the perpetrator. What are they trying to keep alive? What are they trying to achieve? What are they trying to avoid? What do they fear by letting go? Note your ideas down before continuing. Take a breath, take a cup of tea. Top yourself up with love today. The more we take in, the more we take out. Go and get a cup of tea and take your time and think about this. Generally, the event that caused the sense of wrong has a certain significance. The worse perceived wrong, the greater the significance. For example, long-term abuse is a terrible crime against a person, and it's naturally significant and important to them. There is a fear in most victims that if they let go, they will in some way invalidate or make unimportant the events that occurred. That's not true. They may feel letting go will also let go of their ability to feel just the full emotions about the events. Thus, they are driven to stay angry, since this continues to make the events real. It's like by staying angry, we remember and make the events real. And in turn, it reinforces their sense of being real. It's unreal. It's not happening now. It's the past. After abuse, for example, the victim must come to terms with what happened, and for a period of time, a major part of their self-identity has been a survivor of what happened. To let go of the hatred and anger risks letting go of the part of their identity, thus trying to make themselves real, and avoid being forgotten or losing their sense of self. How many people hang on to that? In a lighter sense, if my football team gets beat, I kind of moan for days after it. That's a lighter sense of it. But very often, my quote on this page is, turmoil in your life means you can handle stress and stand firm, but still far for all to see. Still be that loving parent, that loving mother, father, still be the loving person you are. You don't have to stay in that anger and emotions. Be mindful. And moving past all these events, the self-identity that comes from being a survivor does not need to be forgotten or deleted, but it does need to be put into context. The survivor needs to, reintegrate into a normal life as possible. Begin living again, and thus put the experiences into context of the overall story. Failure to consider the abuse as only part of their life leads to complete identification with being a victim and no more. Forgiveness is a part of the specific process that allows the person to move on and see themselves as part of the complete picture, not simply as a victim. If you fall in love with someone who has been terribly abused in the past, you startle them. They hit out at you in panic, hurting you. Do you hate them? Do you swear revenge? The above examples are used since most people, in such extreme cases, can see the pointlessness of hating the perpetrator. The examples are sufficiently clear-cut to make the decision of forgiving and acceptance natural. It's sometimes difficult. It's overreacting sometimes. And life is about learning and growing into a loving, caring person, not the miserable, moaning git. So we need to stop the procrastinating and blaming others, take responsibility for yourself, and start being a victor, not the victim. So what does forgiveness really mean? Take an example, a dog who has been mistreated or is perhaps ill and in great pain. Bites you, you feel pain, anger, fear. Afterwards you realise that the dog was not behaving normally. If the dog had recovered, then it may be friendly, and you may realise that the dog did not mean its actions. Thus it's easy to forgive the dog. If the dog, however, remains angry and in pain and can never recover from its condition, what do you do? If the dog cannot help its actions, do you hate it? If the dog has a disease like rabies and cannot stop being aggressive, do you blame the dog? Resenting and hating and swearing revenge on the dog until your living day doesn't work. It's not what we see that matters, it's what's inside us that provides that calmness and strength to carry on. And what's inside us is the wisdom, and you find that by being mindful. So what are we going to do in these situations? Generally we use sensible forgiveness. For example, if the dog tries to bite you, you may forgive it, but you would not offer your hand a second time. Likewise, a person who harms you may not be in full control of their actions, and therefore you forgive them, but you would not place yourself at risk again. Hatred, revenge, and holding on a grudge are all painfully useless responses to such situations. Forgiveness and appropriate responses are clearly sensible responses. Never undervalue the cost of kindness. Ingratitude and kindness cost nothing to give, but they do pay dividends. Be kind to everyone you meet, but everyone is fighting some kind of battle. So what about the less clear-cut cases? Someone thinks that you are threatening them and so hits out at you and believes you are not threatening them. You may be angry about the fact that the misunderstanding happened, but it's a misunderstanding. You determine that the person has a debatable judgment, but you still hold a grudge. Does it help you, or if you do, does it really help you if you hold on to that grudge? No. A mentally ill person is not taking their medication and becomes abusive. Say on public transport. Do you remain angry after the event because they should have taken the medication? Or do you accept that the behaviour was a product of their condition? A vicious, nasty thug of a person robs you at knife point, laughing and deliberately causing you pain. And that's actually happened to me, and it was not nice. Afterwards you discover that this person is a repeat offender. Do you hate them? Vowed to hound them until they pay. I'm going to get that person for what they've done. Lock them up and throw away the key, as I used to say. Or do you accept that this poor, unfortunate and severe personality disorder and does not even realise what they are doing is wrong, and decide yes, they need to be in prison for everyone's safety, but think how sad it is that they are turned out that way. I actually feel sorry for the person who did that to me. Realising hope in the unlovely, releasing that hope in the unlovely. In our everyday lives we deal with people beyond redemption who make us fearful and reactive. Also they can revolt us. We only see them from our own perspective and we never see what lies within them. Some people are that way because the hope has become trapped and something's died inside them. Old dreams have faded. The passionate creativity has been crushed and the stigma is low. And without being a do-gooder or heavy-handed with our kindness and encouragement, we can release hope in them by recognising each person having a special potential. Being non-judgmental is a factor in mindfulness, and not knowing is not understanding. If you help someone today by being kind and loving and mindful today, regardless of what others think. And be mindful, not everyone we meet will understand, but never stop giving out that loving energy. Now, stop, take a breath. Feel yourself succeeding. Stop blaming others. Stop wallowing. Stop being a victim, be the victor. Start taking control back. Get help if you need it. Focus on what you can change and not what you can't. If you need help, or a push in the right direction, book an appointment with myself. And the card says, trust yourself to make life-changing decisions. Don't blame others for your situation, even if it's not your fault. You're the only one that can change your situation, so start today. Really hard examples follow. The serial killer, fluidamide, the rapist, the arsonist. They may need medication or imprisonment in order to protect everyone else, but did they ask to be afflicted with such behavioural horrors? No. Does it help us to hate and stay mad at them? Or does it provide an emotional release for our lack of understanding of how fate can be so cruel? It is just a modern day version of putting a cripple in a medieval stocks and pelting them with rotten food or being cursed for being cursed, you know. And I keep saying, the card I pull for this is, I'm the angel of peace and I bring a new and tranquil and smoother road ahead. Keep praying for peace and love for us all. Even those that don't even know what they're doing or have these afflictions or illnesses. Key points about this form of forgiveness really is the pain that the perpetrators cause is real and it's completely valid. It should never be underestimated. Forgiving is not the same as letting someone get away with a crime. It certainly isn't. You may forgive someone who wrongs you, but still decide they deserve the consequences. For example, a prison sentence. Forgiveness does not erase consequences. Forgiveness is not making excuses for people. They may need to be contained, given medication, or imprisoned because they are present in real danger to others. It's merely a means of not hating them for something they have become. Forgiveness is about not carrying the hate, inside us as victims or members of society. It means the perpetrator facing the consequences of their actions, but us being able to move on. And I always say, what's the point of moving forward if we go backwards? We can't see where to throw the spear at what's coming our way, as I say. The overall point is, if you've had a moment at conception where you could choose how you would turn out in life, would you ever choose to be the perpetrator of a terrible crime? No. It's hard to imagine anyone ever choosing such a thing. Therefore, it's logical to assume that the character, genetics, upbringing, or some uncontrollable and horrible innate quality in some people turns them into perpetrators of abuse, terrible crimes, and other horrendous acts. It's not a choice that they had, although in no way are you being asked to feel sorry for them. Perhaps we need to be aware that they did not choose to become monsters. Punishment, containment, and medication are essential to protect and punish. But holding on to hysterical hatred does not hurt the perpetrator, it only hurts you, the victim. And turmoil in your life means you can handle a crisis and stand firm, but you can still be the flower for all to see, so be that flower today. Do you think a killer, who's off his head, you could say, demands that the family of the victims hate him? No, they don't. Or a serial rapist cares about the terrible pain that they've caused? They don't. Some, of course, don't repent and go through change. They do repent. But unfortunately, many don't. Again, you're not being asked to feel sorry for them or in any way like them. In fact, it's very healthy to dislike them and stay well clear of them. However, obsessional hatred is something that occurs inside our minds and hurts us and not them. So be determined and focused to succeed. It takes courage and charm. Be determined to overcome this hatred. And one of my quotes, stop mourning and being a victim today. Grasp that moment and create new opportunities for success. Life is full of sad moments, but life is full of happy moments as well. Remember how good that feels and attract it to your life today. Even just a short walk to the shop, you never really know what's out there when you try. If you need help to move on from life challenges, you can contact myself. And I'll hopefully help you find that happy medium in your life. Don't let new opportunities fly by today, whether it's love, work or play. Grasp the moment before it disappears. Give gratitude that you're still alive to create the opportunities today. Now, so what should we feel? This is what people tell us should. Sadness that some people are born to develop. Dislike and avoidance of people that cause harm to us. Feel pain, hurt, anger and other valid emotions while working through the effects of harm that is caused. Awareness that such people are unsafe and should face the consequences of their actions. But then, forgiveness in the sense of letting go of our anger, determination not to live as a victim to our rage, letting go of revenge, hatred, and obsession about it. Living our lives to the full and respecting the lessons that we've learned. And there's an example: is I'm not your doormat. Don't be a doormat, be that strong living person that opens the door to new opportunities. Move forward, don't stay. Being serious, forgiveness does not invalidate that we were hurt. Forgiveness does not justify the actions of the perpetrator. Forgiveness does not lessen the wrong we suffered. Forgiveness allows us to move on. Well done so far. Take a break and reflect on what you feel mindfully. Relax in the now. When we verbalise, as with other methods we have examined, the way we verbalise feelings makes a great deal of difference to how we process them in the longer term. Think can be how we think internally about things, how we talk about them with others, and even how we write things down. With forgiveness, a critical issue is to separate the wrong that has been perpetrated from the emotions from the long-term reaction. And you can see how we can change and sometimes make fun. It's like, what does love mean to be? L, longing to belong to something that moves us to take any action in the name of love. O, overcoming life's challenges and still being able to have faith in yourself and others. V, visualising a positive outcome no matter what life throws at us. E, evolving as humans to see the true love that's within us all, to feel, see and touch. To me, that's unconditional love. Like, for example, I was robbed by a stranger. That was wrong, and they should be punished. I felt angry and scared and hurt, and I am still working through these emotions, and that did actually happen to me. I can let go of the hatred I feel, since it only hurts me. By forgiving a person for being who they are, I release myself. I was abused as a child. This was a terrible and unjustful thing to happen. I am glad the abuser is in prison. I feel scared, worthless, hurt and angry. And anxious as well. I am still working on my self-esteem and confidence, and I still get scared sometimes. I forgive the person for being the monster they are. I'm not prepared to spend my life hating and wasting energy on them. So what we say and what we're speaking, what we're writing is really important, because it's how we feel. So we need to be careful what we say and think about what we say, write, think and feel. By now, this part of the lesson, some may maybe feel okay with the concept of forgiveness. Using the new meaning, others will find that they are so used to the old meaning that it's hard to adjust. This is completely understandable. We associate meanings and feelings with words, and therefore sometimes it's very hard to move past old meanings and truly feel the new ones. What you can do instead is to allocate a significant different term. One term such as nothingness. This works by acknowledging that the Western version of forgiveness may not be appropriate, but neither is carrying hatred. Therefore, the in-between state of mindfulness and calmness is similar to nothingness. Know your nothingness. Be devoted to it. Be devoted to nothing. Be the emptiness you already are. Be the empty of imagined false self-image. No longer believe you're something that you're not. You're not angry anymore. Thus you can adjust the verbalising to, I was abused as a child. This was a terrible and unjustifiable thing to happen. I am glad the abuser is in prison. I felt scared, worthless, hurt and angry and anxious. I am still working on my self-esteem and confidence, and I still get scared sometimes. I feel for the person who is unfortunately a monster, and they did not choose to be a monster. Fate made them so. The act was unjustifiable, but I am not prepared to spend my life hating and wasting energy on them. And when you think about this, life is about learning and growing into a loving, caring person, not a miserable, moaning kid. Right? So stop procrastinating, blaming others, take responsibility for yourself, and start being the victor, not the victim. Being mindful in a stressful environment is just taking a breath and saying, I am made of love and I will positively overcome my challenges today. Staying calm is being mindful of where you are and realising the beauty around you. Be in the moment. No matter where you are, you can go to that beautiful place in your mind and take a breath and just ask, how can I sort out this mess of a world where the negativity is given priority over being positive? The answer is to go still, feel that love within, that gives us the energy to forgive, let go, and send that love to others, no matter what's been thrown at us. That's mindfulness. The important point to remember is that everyone will come up with a slightly different phrasing to describe a deeply personal set of circumstances. Thus, it's not impossible to provide a simple template in terms of say this. You have to formulate your own phrases, and this may take some time. And this will usually be something worked on within a private session, and then completed as homework between sessions. The key points are: acknowledge what happened and reaffirm it was wrong. Acknowledge feelings and emotions then and now. They're valid. Acknowledge forgiveness or nothingness, and that a commitment to move on and enjoy life. That's the important part, enjoying life. The less severe cases, sometimes the event was not some terrible crime, but perhaps an argument where hurtful things were said due to misunderstandings. And in that kind of case, the first part might be to acknowledge what happened and reaffirm it was a misunderstanding. Personal forgiveness. People often hold up grudges against themselves. Why me? Why did I say that? This is something that in a one-to-one session, it can really help, and we can develop your self-esteem. Acknowledge what happened and reaffirm it was a mistake on your part. We all make mistakes, but we'll learn from them. A letter to the perpetrator is a really good useful exercise. A commonly used method in many forms of therapy. It is writing a letter to the person who wronged the client, who wronged you. The letter is never actually sent, but it's used to clarify the feelings that the victim has, the different emotions, facets of harm, desire to take revenge or hear an apology. The letter is very useful to use as part of forgiveness, and it's usually best used before you feel challenged within the concept of forgiveness at all. The letter should be specific, written in your own words. Not be sort of grammatical art of words, but as blunt and as colourful as necessary. And above all, honest. It's a huge opportunity to clarify, vent, and to get in touch with the deeper emotions that you may not have admitted. Although this experience is helpful, but often emotional, and a session should be booked with somebody like myself soon after the time allocated for writing the letter, so you feel supported, because it does bring up emotions. The emotions have been lying dormant for years, by the way. You may or not choose to show me, the therapist, the letter, and this is entirely up to you. It does help if I do see it, but it doesn't matter. It's the whole purpose of this is to letting go and recognise the feelings you've got and working on them. And I always say, don't give power to the false and negative energies around you. Give love and healing and thank them for inspiring you to be loving and positive. Very often we try harder with other people after an emotional event. A suggested process might be coming for a session discussing the overall basics of harm and abuse, perhaps as part of an overall series of sessions in early stages. Setting the stage, earning trust, doing a letter exercise. Sessions discussing issues and feelings coming out of an experience of writing that letter. No pressure to disclose your letter, but the key issues are very useful. Forgiveness and nothingness session working on the concepts of letting go of hatred and making the events part of a more comprehensive life story. And explain that by verbalising model, given the option of nothingness, we'll explain that to you. Forgiveness doesn't exercise. I'll ask you to come up with a short statement describing the event, the emotions, and declaring either forgiveness or nothingness. And I'll follow up with a general discussion if there's still a lot of issues there, and try to focus at least part of the session without planning for activities or other goals that will provide an opportunity for you to have positive experiences. In particular, scenes that offer the chance to explore the other sides of your character, other than those representing you being a victim. We've all got that happy side within us. Now, future sessions can identify and help you in identity and acceptance, thus assisting in building a more well-rounded image of yourself. They're just suggestions for those of you who have real experiences like being abused and much more. And most of all, your confidentiality is guaranteed. This is a serious subject, and I thank you all for being brave enough to read and carry on to this point. And hopefully the tools you are now using, it will help you find that happy medium in your life. I've learned a lot from my experiences to forgive with the help of these tools and the use of mindfulness. Do I still get frustrated and angry now and again? I do. But I always go back into my mindfulness and look at what is a real emotion, where is it coming from, what has triggered it off, and why am I reacting that way. And there's loads of tools in the previous lectures and sessions that can help you with that. Now, thank you for listening to this lecture, and I wish you all the best for the future in a more mindful, positive and caring way. Thank you for listening.